Welcome to Footballland. My name's Anthony Richardson. Your name is Mark Davison. Your name is Ryan Baxter.
Yes. Yep.
Now,
Hello.
it's a special one. Yeah, I know we're building the world's biggest football theme park and only, but technically it's not the only football theme park. There was a rival 10 years ago drawn up by a man called Pablo Iglesias Maurer, who in The Athletic, he writes for The Athletic, he actually designed his own MLS theme park.
Right, but it doesn't exist now.
No, well, like all conglomerates.
So we're still the first.
Well, we're kind of absorbing his. We've invited him into the fiberglass Wayne Lineker Testicle to pitch us his rides so that we can absorb him like a giant
sponge?
Yeah, a football sponge. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Unfortunately, he is waiting in there. And unfortunately, Ryan, there's only space for 3 people. So...
Oh, that's all right. I'll just pop back to the garage. I've been working on a new formula for the Steve Mechanical Bull lube.
Why are you always designing that ride?
It was clagging up and it made it easier to hold on, and so I need something slippier.
I like going past Ryan's garage. There's something beautifully sensual about the way he lubes that penis. It's
Yeah, it's, you know, it's nice. It's close. It's close to home, so I can call you guys up and go, sorry, guys, I've got the mechanical bull to work on today, and you seem not to be interested. And then so I just stay at home and I work on that, and it's also really relaxing. You know,
boiling it up like a cricket bat.
It's like a massage chair meets a sort of rocking chair. You know, it's
right. Okay, let's get in there. We're late. See you soon, Ryan. Let's go.
All right. See you in a minute.
We're coming, Pablo. We're coming.
In episode 7, the delightful sausage pitched a ride so out there it defied logic. It's called Hasta La Vista, baby, the Eric Cantona experience. And it's a bit like Westworld, sort of, but with Glenn Hoddle in it. That you go in through a stomach at one point, and there's... Just listen to it. Just go back to episode 7 and listen to it. It's flipping mental.
Mark, we've got a guest.
Great.
His name is Pablo Iglesias Maurer, and he is a staff writer at The Athletic and an enthusiast of soccer oddities. You know what we are, Mark? We're a soccer oddity.
Are we?
Welcome, Pablo. How are you doing?
Wonderful. I'm thrilled to be inside the testicle.
So, Pablo, before we begin, we've just got a few legals to get through, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you swear to hand over your ideas to Footballland, and to prove you are serious, you're swearing on a copy of Shoot magazine from the year 2000. Just to prove you've got that copy, who's on the front cover, please?
It's going to be Kobe Jones.
Person who was seen
On the cover of
Shoot magazine
was
Kobe Jones. He's got dreadlocks, wearing a teal LA Galaxy jersey that looks like a 3XL.
And he played for Coventry City beforehand. Do you remember his time at Coventry?
I don't know. I don't remember anyone's time at Coventry, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Roy Wegerle?
Yeah, I mean, you could prattle off the three Americans who've actually played in England, I guess. John Harkes being the other one.
When we call them the Yankee trio, when they came over to England, like pioneers, like a reverse Christopher Columbus, how proud were you?
Oh, deeply proud. I was actually living in Spain at that point, so it was more of a Tabaremos Real Betis. It was more invested in that, you know. Or maybe like an Alexi Lalas with, I want to say it was Genoa.
Am I right in thinking that for most young soccer players in the States, they dream about one day playing for Coventry City?
No, they actually, most young soccer players in the United States actually dream one day about playing football, American football.
So basically what happened, the reason we've got you in the meeting room into the testicle is that you, a few years back, you came up with your own Major League Soccer theme park.
Major League Soccer, a soccer celebration, yes. I did get the park open. It was not successful. I'm blaming it on the COVID-19 pandemic.
Right.
You know, in the same way that Major League Soccer can blame their most recent attendance numbers on COVID-19. When in reality they've been horrible for 25 years. Yeah, so anyways, this theme park is folded, and I'm coming to you guys to try and sort of interest you in maybe taking some of these shuttered rides.
Well, we do have a ConCaCaCaCaf section of the theme park. So if you offer us your decaying husk of a theme park, we'd be really happy to take that off your hands.
Steady on, Anthony. Let's hear what we're buying first.
Well, we'll have to talk about a price as well. I mean, you're not taking it off my hands. This is valuable intellectual property protected by U.S. copy. I did just sign that waiver, I guess.
So talk us through your rights. We'll ask questions. We're going to be playing hardball here. I'd like to cut the crap. We're going to be playing hardball. So talk us through your rights, please.
All right. I mean, the first one, I really think maybe the one you'd be most interested in is actually sort of an homage to Footballland itself, right? It's called Footballland, a virtual experience. I don't know if you've ever seen this, if you have these in shopping malls, whatever people call that in the UK, a shopping mall. They have the
outdoor markets.
A spaceship type of thing that's sort of supported by mechanical struts that move on, and, sort of like get in it, and you put on these VR headsets. It's that, and then you get in it, it's actually just a virtual reality version of Footballland. So people in the States will come to a soccer celebration, or they should say they came, with the idea being they can experience Footballland in virtual reality, and then after they disembark the ride, they can just mill about sort of and talk about how much better the amusement parks are in the UK or in Europe.
Yeah. I slightly worry about buying this particular Footballland a virtual experience if we're going to relocate it to Footballland. So you'd basically be walking around the real Footballland, and then you can go in and have a virtual look at what you're already in.
Well, you could repurpose it. You could repurpose it to be Soccerland, a virtual experience, and then people guests at your park could get in it, ride it, and then leave it and say, "Wow, that was really shit."
I'm glad we're at this slightly less shit place.
You're suggesting we go into VR and then we look at what your old theme park looked like.
Maybe it could just be repurposed to where it's just you go and you watch a game between, like the Colorado Rapids and the New England Revolution in VR, and that you're going to need barf bags, unfortunately, but then you do leave and you have more of an appreciation for what you're surrounded by.
That's really good. We do need things where you come out feeling fulfilled and relieved, a bit like in A Christmas Carol, where he wakes up after seeing 3 ghosts and thinks, wow, God, I'm actually going to be not a twat anymore.
Yeah, everybody goes to an amusement park to ride a ride that's literally entirely about things could be worse.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, but whatever,
That's great. All right. That's feel good. All right. What have you got next for us?
This is a recent ride called Wayne Rooney's Slippery Slide Out. It's based on his...
goodness me. Yeah, Slippery Slide Out.
Yeah, it's a... I don't know if you've ever seen one of these water slides that has sort of a hump in the middle. Essentially, you have an initial steep drop, which represents Wayne at Everton, and then... You have a rapid ascent. You come to the apex of it. That would be essentially DC United's second half of their 2018 season, where Rooney was just a revelation for them. And then the remainder of the ride is just a fairly steep decline, and then the ride unexpectedly ends about 40% before it was supposed to, when your wife just begins to think you're having too much fun and takes you off.
Right.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's a lovely touch.
Wayne Rooney's own wife, can she be involved too? Because she has become quite a sleuth. She's actually a private detective.
Yeah, I mean, it could be repurposed as like a Rebecca Vardy experience type of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Like I like the idea that maybe if your own wife is suspicious about you, she could get you on this ride, which you think is just a normal Wayne Rooney experience, a nice lovely water slide, but actually what's happening is Colleen is in a van at the back, and she's going through all of your data, and she's snooping on your entire life, and by the end of the ride she can guarantee to your own real life wife whether you've been cheating or not.
Yeah, I wish you guys could have seen, this is a real story. I covered DC United for years, and the day that it was Rebecca Vardy's account, all that stuff happened. I mean, Wayne Rooney was literally sitting around with DC United teammates laughing at memes about his wife. It was incredible.
Wow.
Just it was really brilliant to watch, honestly. And I was happy that he seemed to be enjoying it. No, I like your idea. I think, as an American, what I would say is that any element of data harvesting that we can do in the park, I hope you say we. I feel like we're officially partners now.
Yeah, we're partners.
This endeavor.
Yeah.
That's encouraged. That data can then be repurposed and sold.
Great. And if we could incorporate some kind of painful and utterly pointless hair transplant surgery, like mid slide, like halfway down,
just a ledge.
Just a ledge that takes the top of your scalp off, so you're bald to the you're not just missing hair follicles, you're missing the top of your head.
I mean, I'm not going to fight you on that. That sounds brilliant.
When you originally said the hump in the middle, I thought you were referring to the old lady that he he made love to at the start of his career. Will you be able to make love to an old lady in this? Because for goodness sakes, let's just let our hair down. What's left of it that hasn't been scalped off.
Let your scalp down if you're on the ride.
Again, I'm open to all ideas. That sounds sort of like a separate ride to me. There could be an entire brothel area of the. I
don't mean to be overly crude, but the title Wayne Rooney's Slippery Slide Out, it kind of sounds like some kind of unfortunate prolapse. Sort of.
Oh my God.
Well, what are you sliding out of?
Yourself. I mean.
Oh goodness, yeah.
Right, well, just got extremely deep and dark as well.
Yeah, you're sliding out of yourself. And in many ways, that's what Wayne Rooney did when he went to DC United, because the pressures of the Premier League, of, aging sort of gracefully.
You could say he let his hair down. I mean, he didn't let his hair down.
No,
that would be impossible, I guess.
Well, you could just unstaple it and put it just on the floor for a bit by like a mouse hole, like in Tom and Jerry, and Jerry could take it and have some fun. And
the clips of what he was doing there made it regularly over to this
he was
side
having
of the
a great
pond.
time. He was sliding out of himself.
We did see a lot of him doing stuff that he hadn't done for Manchester United for years.
I never wrote about this because it's not. Well, because I think it's unprofessional and it's just not my bag. But actually, one of my friends, a guy called Evan, lived down at the wharfs where Wayne was living towards the end of his stay in the States. And we would go to, there's a hotel bar down there, and he was frequently there, always talking to any number of people.
Wow.
Always pleasant to deal with, always a fun guy.
Yeah.
But definitely he was enjoying his time in America for sure.
And now and again, balls deep in a octogenarian. mid chat
with his hair on the floor,
having a slippery slide out with an 81-year-old woman. Exactly.
On your list, we've just got your pamphlet and Freddy Adu's Funhouse. Freddy Adu's Funhouse. Now, Freddy Adu, of course, he had a superb start of his career. We're talking between the age of 13 and 14, and then he reached his peak. So, what is fun about that?
Nothing.
I
mean, there is an element of.
Such a brilliant pause.
I'm sorry. Maybe there's a difference between. Maybe it's a cultural difference, but I didn't know that fun was really part of any of this. Right. I guess you could say. I mean, probably part of the ride. Look, when we designed this thing, I mean, part of it certainly was the idea that you would. These sliding doors would open and close, and you would continue to get paid for at least 8 or 9 years by, 14 to 16 different employers. So that's good, But, I think the sad part of the ride is, every time you see a mirror, your face gets a little more dispirited. Your body gets a little punchier. The wrinkles begin to show.
And you're only 17 by then.
Yeah, exactly. Or 36, depending on who you ask about the person's actual age. And then every time you sort of round a corner, there's a very disappointed looking Pelé standing in the corner who just says, "You are supposed to be the next me." Right? So I wouldn't say it's one of these rides that probably just makes you thankful for what you already have. It could be worse, right?
So can I just recap this ride? So you go into a fun house and it's full of mirrors and sliding doors, and it's lovely, and you get money thrown at you by 16 different wealthy men who are wearing over like the Monopoly men, the Monopoly man. So it's 16 different variations of him, and you get to collect as much money as you can in your pockets. But at the same time, you do have to look at yourself in the mirror. And then an elderly Pelé, because we've already got Pelé. We've got a giant in the CONMEBOL zone. We've got a giant. Pelé planking his own erect penis, and at the bottom is a pharmacy just selling Viagra. So we have got Pelé. He is actually doing some sittings for the sculptor to actually, get that, Yeah, so we can have Pele there, and Pele does do a lot of endorsements. He's kind of like an elderly Cristiano Ronaldo.
I think for the right price, for the right price, he would, or maybe he could just be there like every other Wednesday or something like that.
Pele Wednesdays. I can see that. Let's go on to another ride. What else have you got for us? Because I'm going to say now we're going to definitely take everything.
Excellent. We've got, I don't know if you guys know what a tilt-a-whirl is. We have, in the States here, I'm sure you have stuff like it in the UK. It's sort of like what's called a county fair. This would be like a carnival, right? So a tilt-a-whirl is something, it's like you stand up and you're strapped to the wall of a huge circle, basically, and the thing goes up in the air and starts spinning like a centrifuge, and then it starts tilting a lot, and essentially, we have one of those. It's based on the MLS rule book. It's called Don Garber's rule book, Tilt-a-Whirl. Now, the main sort of feature of this ride is that the trajectory of the ride can change at any point for any reason to fit the whims of the carnival operator, right? It's a desperate attempt to sort of make the ride popular. It is incredibly nauseating, right? And very few people care about it.
And it lasts about 4 hours, doesn't it? You can't get off.
Exactly. It never stops. Yeah.
What were the maddest rules that MLS came up with then? Because I remember right at the start they had the clock was inverted like in any other American sport. So it was a countdown clock, really, wasn't it? And the crowd used to chant like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and then the final whistle would go. And that's genuinely my earliest recollection of watching MLS on Channel 5. So it must have been about 1998, 1999, was the crowd chanting 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 till the end of the game. It's like they were literally chanting to the end of the final whistle.
Yeah, they were just thankful it was over, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And another one was obviously the run-up penalty shootout from the halfway line.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something, man. I did a long piece when MLS started in 1996, and the US ISL, which was like the pro league that was around in the early and mid-90s, and I say pro advisedly, it was like semi-pro basically. They used the MLS, US Soccer Federation used US ISL as a tryout ground for like 15 different rule changes they were going to implement in MLS. And some of them were, I wrote a long story about this. Some of them were wacky. For example, the last 5 minutes of each half, they do short corners. Like you'd put the ball at the edge of the 18 where it meets the end line.
Right.
Wow.
There was other stuff. And the most absurd one, and I cannot stress to you enough that I'm not making this up, is called a stampede kick.
Okay.
And it's incredible. I talked to Tony Meola, who was the U.S.
goalkeeper,
national team goalkeeper.
Exactly.
And so at the time he was playing for the Long Island Rough Riders in the US ISL.
Goodness. That sounds like
also sounds like a sexual ride.
Yeah, like on Pornhub, you'd get that as a subcategory.
The Rhode Island reach arounds.
Exactly. Jesus. So Tony described it to me as the most terrifying experience of his life. Basically what it is there's a 35-yard line on the field, and the ball is placed at the 35-yard line. And so you're familiar with the run-up penalty kicks you just described, right?
Absolutely.
It's one-on-one. So this is the same thing, except every other member of the other two teams lines up 5 yards behind the kick taker, and they just start chasing him. So essentially, if you're the kick taker, there's 18 other players behind you, and if you're the goalie who's facing up on one of these things, I mean, the way Meola described it was horrifying. He said he could like feel the field shaking, and you see just a solid wall of humans just charging at you,
like wildebeest migrating.
100%, yeah. And
what was the reasoning? What was it trying to achieve there?
We're just trying to make it more soccery, man. Like
when would this happen? When would it happen? When like what would trigger a stampede?
All right, so you know how the denial of a clear goal scoring opportunity, now it's a red card, and so basically if you're the last man in on goal and you got taken down, similar to hockey, they do the same thing in hockey, where if you're taken down from behind on a breakaway, they give you a breakaway penalty shot. And same thing, if you're the last man in on goal, it was a red card, and you do a stampede kick.
Wow, that's amazing.
And no defenders. The defenders had to stay behind the kicker.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they could catch up. You know, I mean, like, that's the thing is the whistle blows, the guy's breaking down goal, all the 18 other players are charging behind him, trying to kill him.
Wow.
It's kind of like a return to medieval time rules where
100%,
like 300 people would play and try and get the ball into the next town.
Yeah. The other thing they tried were, they tried to do different stuff with the clock. I mean, just all this stuff. And then only a few things made it into MLS. Thankfully, but yeah. So anyways, I think the tilt-a-whirl though is because, nowadays MLS more closely mirrors European soccer. The tilt-a-whirl is really about the roster regulations in MLS, which are ridiculous. For example, a guest at any point, the ride can stop and the guest is against their will transferred to another ride.
How are they transferred?
Right now they're just forced to disembark, and then we have somebody come and break the really bad news to them that they just essentially are being moved from a nice area of the theme park to like Charlotte, North Carolina. What else do I have here? So one of the more popular rides is actually, I think this could be repurposed for your British riders as well. It's called World Cup 2022, an American experience. And here we have Disney World, Disneyland. At Disneyland, there's an Indiana Jones adventure ride. You're in a mine cart, hurtling down the mine shaft or whatever. It's the same type of thing.
Temple of Doom, yeah.
Exactly. Here, essentially, the workers on the ride, or the riders on the ride, you surrender your passport at the entrance. Yeah. Obviously, it's just standard procedure.
Yeah,
right?
We just need to take it for safekeeping.
Yeah, we're going to put some fun stamps in it, and you'll get it back in 6 years.
When Colleen Rooney's finished with it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Got to harvest the data. And then, you climb into the mine cart and you're just sort of hurtled down this winding path. It sort of recreates the 2022 World Cup bid process here in the States where, there's Bill Clinton is over there. You have, other people over there. There's FIFA executives, animatronic, obviously. I can't have real people in a theme park, just sort of desperately clutching for bribes. And at the end, obviously, you arrive at the end flat broke and sort of emotionally broken down and come to the realization that somebody else has sort of, gained the ability to host the World Cup. And so again, like I said, I feel like there's going to be repurposed for Brits. So it could just be the 2018 World Cup.
Absolutely. 2018, 2006. In fact, I think we've bid for more things than anyone else without getting anything. The music, I'm concerned that we haven't got much music. We haven't got much experience in terms of culturalness here.
Yeah, I mean, I have two features for you there. The first one is called MLS Kicks. And obviously, I don't really need to tell you that it's spelled with two X's. KIXX. Yeah, it's a 2 hour and no less. I mean, you're locked in there, to be clear. It is not your choice. It is a 2 hour musical review with I don't know if you have these pizza places over there that have these animatronic robotic bands, usually like animals that sort of like play the drums or guitar.
Sorry, what?
Are you tripping now? As this actually happens?
A pizza place with robot bands.
Oh my God, you guys genuinely, yeah. So there's a pizza place here called Chuck E. Cheese, and there was another one when I was a kid called Showbiz Pizza, and the main feature of the place were these 3 huge stages in the middle of the room, and they had robot bands, sort of like Robot Cowboy. Showbiz had like a robot gorilla, and like the guitarist was like a dog. There was a bear called Beach Bear who played like the banjo, and they man, I am high as shit right now. It's true. And that they would play songs that were, in fact, famously, somebody recently found a full working set of one of these things and repurposed them to play like Usher and like Ludacris and stuff. And it's like some of the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. So it's basically an animatronic band, and it's fronted by an animatronic Alexi Lalas, who in 1994 famously was also a quote unquote musician. Again, I use that term loosely, but it's fallen into a grave state of disrepair. So at this point, it's just like these 8 or 9 characters with tattered denim jerseys for some reason. Alexi's hair, red curly locks are just sort of matted and falling apart. I really, really need you to take this ride. It's haunted. The entire thing is haunted.
There is something beautifully poignant about that kind of level of decay, which taps into when I first came across your work in, I think it was 2016, when I found the website of you taking photos of abandoned places that had previously witnessed kind of the heights of leisure activity in the 50s and 60s.
Resorts, yeah.
To anyone listening, I strongly recommend you go and check these things out. We'll do a plug at the end. But there is something brilliant about kind of exploring an area that was once thriving and was once amazing, just as Alexi Lalas was. And he's no longer.
Well, to be fair, he is still amazing now, but I wouldn't want to go and inside his body and look about. I mean,
why not? Why not? That's exactly what I'm talking about.
We're having this conversation from inside someone's testicle.
Yeah, well,
again,
true.
Inexplicably, we're coming. I'm realizing most of my rides are focused on regret and lament and the passage of time and the poignancy of your own mortality and sort of being forced to reflect on that and then seeing planking on a massive erection, all these things that combine into this beautiful sort of swirling brew of emotions.
Yeah. And can you eat pizza inside him?
It sort of depends what you're suggesting that you do.
Well, I mean, I liked. Basically, it goes back to Chuck E. Cheese and all of the restaurants with the animatronic bands. And I thought, if you had a giant pizza restaurant, but it was also, imagine like Alexi Lalas lying down in the fetal position, but he's a restaurant. So he's a tattered old giant husk. Slowly being abandoned back to nature, his beard is a raccoon that plays all 15 hours of American Pie. Yeah, well, that can be his beard, but his body is the pizza restaurant. And so he's in the fetal position, so you can enter through his mouth, I guess, and you can have, it's a full restaurant kitted out, but it's like an MLS sort of celebration within Alexi Lalas. So it's kind of a bit rough and ready. Where's
the exit, Anthony? How are you getting? Where is the exit? How are you getting out of Alexi Lalas in the fetal position?
Well, you tell me what restaurant you've been to where the exit isn't the same as the entrance. I'm not suggesting we go out his bum. It's not a. It's not like a queuing. It's not like going to IKEA.
It would make more sense. It would your journey through the restaurant would echo the journey of the food that you've consumed.
Jesus Christ!
Well, as Mark said, you could have the toilets in the bum, but why not just? Let's not get bawdy. Let's just. I tell you what. Just to remove any doubt, we'll make him completely smooth, like a Barbie doll in his downstairs bits and his bottom. Okay, Mark. So he's actually just a husk of a man that you're inside, and he's completely asexual. So that you can't be like, oh, let's go and look at his balls, because we don't want to do that, Mark. We just want to have a nice pepperoni pizza inside Alexi Lalas.
That's good. Yeah, that's nice. And he'll be up for this.
Well, he just has to model. If we want to model. Yeah, just lie on the feet. Just get him into a studio while, some architects watch him while he's completely...
Shave every part of him, get him in the fetal position.
Yeah. Keep his beard long, because we want the raccoon to be modelled properly on his beard.
And this is really more across the entire park. I mean, I think you guys need a DJ. So I feel like David Guetta is available. I don't know if you guys, he's worked with MLS before.
Yeah, he's strong with them. Yeah, he's been very successful.
He did a stream for MLS kind of after some of the more recent racial injustice related stuff here in the U.S., where he gave, and I quote, a shout out to George Floyd's family. He said, "Shout out to your family." Then he proceeded to splice in a bunch of Martin Luther King Jr. samples into like a pulsing techno track. It was one of those situations where you would be offended if it wasn't so bizarrely over the top and hysterical.
Yeah.
So essentially what I think we could do is we incorporate Colleen Rooney's data harvesting activities. We sort of gather data on families coming into the park, like little Timmy Wilkinson has a stomach ache or something like that. And then as they enter, you have David Guetta shout out to his family. So essentially, like, he just gives shout outs to people's families as they enter. Oh, shout out to little Timmy Wilkerson. Here you have stomach ache. And then maybe he drops some, Martin Luther King Jr. clips or something like that.
Or Florence Nightingale. Something related to whatever's happened to that family.
Exactly.
But in a completely inappropriate context.
As long as it has a really banging techno beat underneath it, I think...
it's David Guetta. It's David Guetta, for Christ's sake, Mark. It's going to,
Great. Well, let's vote on a revamp of Major League Soccer, a soccer celebration for our ConCaCaCaCaCaf zone. All in favour say aye. 3, 2, 1, aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Pablo. You must be absolutely thrilled.
It's amazing. I've given away all my intellectual property for almost nothing, which is what I do for a living anyways, so it's fine.
Please welcome to the park the Stevens family from Birmingham. They recently said goodbye to their grandma, who sadly died just last week. So boom, this one for Nana, yeah? Shabba! Remember your nan, yeah?
What a lovely chat, and I'm glad to absorb another 300 new rides for Footballland.
Yeah, we've got embarrassment of riches there, and I know I said in the chat that we would give a link to his photos. There is no single link, so your best bet is to type into a search engine of your choice his full name, Pablo Iglesias Maurer, and you will be treated to some of the most beautifully evocative, poignant photos of previously flourishing leisure centres that have now fallen into disrepute and disrepair. And there's something really utterly beautiful about these photos, so check them out.
Talented photographer, great writer, cannot pronounce Pele. I mean, I'm pleased that you kept a straight face there, Mark, but...
I didn't know what he was talking about. Who is Pele?
It made it sound very evocative.
Well, that's good that there's not another player, because we've got the Pele penis plinth, and I've already started work on it, so...
Yeah, you can't have the Pele one.
No, God, geez, 2 plinths.
Lovely stuff. All right then, guys. Normal service resume next week. Patrons, get your ride ideas to us, and we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.